everybody, welcome to Euromaxx Highlights. Today's show is filled with many winter wonders. Here's what's coming up. Cold as ice. Stay the night in a snow village in northern Finland. Works of art, a Swedish artist and his beadwork creations. And nerves of steel, speedriding is an extreme winter sport. For our first destination, we venture to one of the northernmost regions of Europe. Lapland is covered in snow for over 5 months of the year, so it's no wonder that artists from around the world join force to create a so-called snow village in the Finnish municipality of Kittilä. They make frozen sculptures, art installations, and you can even stay in a hotel room made of ice. The maximum stay is 1 night. Don't let the frost bite.
A unique village lies tucked away amid the snowy woods 150 kilometers north of Finland's Arctic Circle. It's built entirely from ice and snow. The snow village, as it's called, covers some 20,000 square meters. Ice artist Rami Kortako is one of its creators.
For me, it feels that I'm living my dream here in Lapland. I'm surrounded by the nature, and I can work with the material, which is even bringing me closer to the nature. And it feels so good to be able to share this experience with the guests who are visiting in the snow village.
This year's theme is Game of Thrones. Artists have carved characters and scenes from the hit TV series Out of Ice. Visitors can even spend a night here. Guests staying in one of the 10 igloo suites can sleep beside a White Walker character. The body heat of 2 guests lets the temperature inside the igloo rise from -5 to 0 degrees Celsius. The creators recommend spending no more than 1 night in these frosty temperatures. A night for 2 costs €350. Stephen Marr and his partner Lena Zadel spent a night here, curled up in sleeping bags suitable for sub-zero temperatures and additional fleece sleeping bags. Comfortable? Hardly.
I guess that makes it so adventurous. You've got these warm floral patterns here, so waking up to them in the cold morning is really special.
A new ice hotel has been built for 17 years in a row now. Ice and snow artists from all over the world come here to build the snow village over the course of a month. They use some 20 million kilos of snow and 350,000 kilos of ice.
Lighting is very important part of the art itself. So one part is finding the art out from the snow, but then it's also like half of the experience is to lit it properly. Then it really comes alive.
Rami offers ice sculpture workshops. With his support, Stephen Marr and his wife transform a block of ice into an intricate leaf.
I thought it would be more difficult. I didn't think it would be possible to actually carve a leaf out of a block of ice in just 1 hour.
Ice is very brittle, but little mistakes can be fixed. Using body heat, bits can be reattached that have broken off. This dragon was carved from 12 tons of ice. The village attracts visitors from around the globe. At the bar, they can order drinks in the rocks, as the glasses are made of ice. Guests can even marry here. Many couples tie the knot in the ice chapel. And there's an igloo restaurant. Eating here is a curious experience.
It feels really weird to be so cold and holding things that are so cold and having to keep your gloves on, and then to eat something that's really hot, but you have to eat it quickly because it gets cold so quickly.
Well, I've already made a mark with my hot chocolate mug that I didn't mean to do. But yeah, and you kind of like stick to it if you put your hands or anything on it for too long.
Ice art is a hands-on experience, but by April, temperatures begin rising and the beautiful creations start to melt.
To be honest, of course it feels a little bit sad when everything melts down, but at the same time it's so fascinating to work with the material and the art that what you are creating is only existing such a short amount of time before disappearing. So everything what is here you can experience only in one winter. When you come back in the next winter, you cannot see the same art anymore.
The artists already have some ideas for next year's theme, but before spring arrives, thousands more visitors will flock here to see their unique winter wonderland.
Swedish artist Johan Karlgren has scored a hit on Instagram with his unique spin on street art. He started out making fuse bead creations with his children, and now posts of his artworks have attracted 80,000 followers. His favourite motifs are characters from old 8-bit video games like Super Mario, and he likes to put them in unexpected places for comedic effect.
The Cookie Monster on a manhole cover in Motala, Sweden, a few hours southwest of Stockholm. And here's Bender the humanoid robot from the cartoon series Futurama, gracing a lamppost. Swedish pixel artist Johan Karlgren brings characters like Homer Simpson from the world of cartoons and video games into the real world. Along with film characters, Jack Nicholson as the psychotic caretaker in The Shining.
I really like the contrast between the real world and the beaded figure. In this example, it's a bit scary perhaps, but when you put something that's unreal into the real world, the contrast that just happens is just beautiful.
Johan Karlgren's studio is a garden house behind his home. This is where he creates his figures and motifs, all made of fuse beads. Normally a handicraft for children, the artist uses them for his creations. Their look is based on the 8-bit images seen in computer game graphics of the 1990s.
It's really low-key, low-tech, something I really enjoy in this high-tech world. And it also reminds me of my childhood, from the old games I used to play. Just pure love.
After the beads are arranged, Johan irons them, and voila, the figure is ready. Johan Karlgren studied art for 3 years. He discovered colorful plastic fuse beads in 2014. Since then, he's used them to create 20,000 pieces of pixel art, which sell for between 30 and 1,500 euros.
It really relaxes me. I just get calm putting those small beads down, and I can make a living out of it as well.
Karlgren markets his works under the name Papa's Perlor, which means Papa's Beads. The idea of turning fuse beads into art came from his children, Zelda and Kai. Sometimes they work together. But these days, the kids mostly leave the fuse beads to their father.
It's strange that Papa works with beads. None of my friends' parents do that. They earn money with real jobs. I like what Papa does. He's probably the only one in the world who does this.
Karlgren's retro art is on display in other countries too. For example, in a hotel in Berlin. But his work is mostly visible on social media. Over 80,000 people now follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, and Instagram, it just gives you feedback straight away. I get so much love from there, so much inspiration and basically energy from people. Say nice things about my stuff. Just great way of working.
Karlgren also posts short videos featuring many of his fuse bead figures, like Super Mario in a race or on a ski trip. The artist is happy to know his art gives people a few moments of enjoyment. As a street artist, Karlgren takes inspiration from objects as well as cartoon characters. For example, he's turned an electrical box on a thoroughfare in Motala into a miniature church.
My inspiration come from all kinds of stuff, video games of course, but also pop culture items or happenings. Also like to interpret political things that are happening around the world. Just basically everything that makes me feel something.
In the future, expect to see more of Johann Karlgren and his fuse bead heroes. A museum in Berlin is interested in staging an exhibition of his work.
Now it's time for some speed riding, a sport that combines elements of kite surfing, paragliding and skiing. I know it sounds quite difficult and dangerous, but all I'm asking you to do is watch it because it looks quite stunning. We caught up with Ueli Kechtenholz, a champion snowboarder who has spent over 10 years developing this adrenaline-pumping activity.
Speed riding in the Swiss Alps, gliding over hill and dale with a special parachute, and skiing down pristine slopes at more than 100 kilometers an hour. This is speed riding, a combination of paragliding and skiing. For Swiss extreme athlete and multiple world champion Ueli Kechtenholz, it's the perfect sport.
The feeling you get speed riding is incredible because of the combination. You can ski off a cliff and suddenly you're in the air flying. And below you can see the next slope, so you swoop in and you're back to skiing.
All you need is a pair of skis and an 8 to 10 square meter wing to go off-piste. 2 cords help steer the wing into the air and back onto the snow. Ueli has been doing this for 10 years, 3 or 4 times a week.
What appeals most to me is that it lets me reinterpret free riding on new terrains. I can tackle new mountains and be the first to make descents which wouldn't be possible otherwise.
Ueli Kechtenholz was born to ski. From an athletic family, he grew up in the Swiss Alps. Now he's active in 10 different types of sports, including skydiving, parachuting, and skateboarding. He's been skiing since he was just 3. He discovered snowboarding at the end of the 1980s and went on to win 14 World Cup titles. In 1998, he was the first snowboarder ever to win an Olympic bronze medal in giant slalom at the Winter Games in Nagano. In 2000 and 2001, he won both world championships back-to-back. It was free riding, skiing or snowboarding off-piste, that brought him to speed riding in 2006. He was one of its first pioneers.
As a snowboarder, free riding on open terrain was always a big thing for me. When I went to my final Olympic competition in 2006, I wanted to concentrate on free riding from then on. But then I saw the first images of speed riding and I knew, this is my thing.
In 2007 and 2008, Ueli Kechtenholz made a movie about speed riding. His film, Play Gravity, shows the first speed riding descents down the 3 Swiss peaks, Eiger, Mönch and Jungfrau. Since then, Ueli has also specialized in producing sports movies.
I'm not very good at not doing things. If I see something I'd like to do, I need to try it.
Speed riding is expensive, but he highly recommends not scrimping on equipment. All told, a good parachute costs about 3,000 euros, and high-quality material is the only way to ensure a safe descent, he says. Today, he and his friend want to try out a new route. They start about 2,700 meters up in the Bernese Alps. First, they study the terrain and determine the route. Good preparation is vital.
Obviously, speed riding is dangerous. You have a quick wing. It's small, so you can build up lots of speed, but its handling is sensitive. If you manage it properly, there's no problem. But you really need to know yourself and your own limitations. You need to know the weather, the conditions, the mountain. Then it's fine.
Sounds simple enough, but it's far from being a sport for the masses. Experts gauge there are only about 600 speed riders worldwide.
Speedriding has really developed over the last 10 years. There was a little boom and lots of people got excited and joined, but then noticed if you don't keep it up regularly, it gets dangerous, and so they lost interest. Today, you have a core group of people who speedride like me and do it really frequently.
Uli Kechtenholz wants to continue developing the sport. His landing in the Steckelberg Valley marks the discovery of yet another speed riding trail.
Let's settle our stomachs now with something tasty. A pastry artist in Ukraine has taken cake design to the next level. Dinara Kasko combines baking expertise with technology. She creates her very own 3D printed molds that make her cakes look like intricately designed structures. You can certainly tell she started out as an architect.
Pastry chef Dinara Kasko is revolutionizing cake design with new ideas for forms, colors and ingredients. The 3D printer in her living room makes it all possible. This is where she creates her personally designed baking molds. She runs through 10, 15 or even more prototypes to get the desired result. Then the form is cast in silicone. 3D printing can often present problems.
This one took 15 hours. We started on it yesterday evening. Usually we need 3 days for our models. Once we even had a mold that took a week to print.
Dinara designs her molds on a computer. She studied architecture, but now specializes in baking molds. So instead of buildings, these days she designs forms for cakes.
I found this image by chance online. These are magnetic fields which produce the shapes. My first thought was, that would work as a cake too. I bought this and wanted to cast it in silicone, though it's not quite perfect. Look, the tip is slightly squarish. These here are fractals. They all resemble one another. Vegetables grow according to the rules of fractal mathematics. When people ask me where I get my inspiration, it can come from anywhere, even from a vegetable like this.
Or from the architecture of her home city, Kharkiv, in northeastern Ukraine. Kharkiv has never been known for its baking, but that's changing now, thanks to Dinara's cake designs and her internet success. She now has more than 500,000 followers on Instagram. And her online success has led to her holding workshops all over the world on the architecture of cake design.
If you want to achieve a wavy form, you have to remember that everything here consists of mousse, of gelatin. It all melts very fast and falls apart, so you always have to think of something. Either put it all on a chocolate base to support it, or change something in the interior construction.
Today, Dinara is baking something classic with eggs, flour and butter. But what she enjoys most are real challenges.
Right now I'm interested in recipes that ban lots of things. Recipes for vegetarians, vegans, or people with allergies. That places great restrictions on you. You can't use the usual ingredients. You really have to think about it and apply what you learned in school about physics and chemistry.
After half an hour in the freezer, the dough is solid enough to be taken out of the silicone form. All that's lacking now is the color. And so, out with the spray gun. Dinara's cakes always follow the laws of mathematics and are inspired by architectural forms. Dinara Kasko has found a new niche with her cake designs.
I owe my career to Instagram and other social networks. Otherwise, I'd still be sitting around at home, and no one would have learned anything about my work.
From her kitchen in Kharkiv, Ukraine, out into the big wide world, thanks to Instagram and countless hours of hard work on the computer.
One of the best ways to get through the long and cold winter is to embrace the elements and enjoy some seasonal entertainment. A great example is Holiday on Ice, one of the world's most famous ice shows. 2018 marks an important milestone for the touring company. They have now been going for 75 years. We took a look at their latest show called Atlantis.
This is one of the world's longest-running shows, Holiday on Ice. Now entering its 75th year, it's an acrobatic adventure of sorts. Some 35 skaters take to the ice in a program that changes every year. One of the principal stars of the show is 25-year-old Matti Landgraf. He's already had a long and successful skating career. This is yet another feather in his cap.
Holiday on Ice is the world's largest ice show. You can hear the audience's delight right after the first number, and that keeps you motivated to go out again.
This year's story is centered around the legend of Atlantis. Matti plays one of its richest inhabitants, a man who seduces dozens of women before Atlantis sinks underwater. Legend has it, the ancient utopic city suddenly disappeared due to the gods' anger at the population's greed. The costumes, story ideas, and choreography have come a long way in 75 years. Holiday on Ice began in 1943 in the United States. Over the years, it has grown as a production, introducing new characters and attracting many stars. Its audience has also grown steady over the years. The show's signature opulence has remained consistent throughout. Even after 75 years, Holiday on Ice still remains one of the most successful shows of its kind, thanks in no small part to the theatrical performances. Its creative directors are always on the lookout for the most modern concepts to keep the audiences in awe.
I'm a big fan of Game of Thrones, and I love the opulence and the beauty and the slight feel of history, but I wanted to give it a modern edge. So if we thought Atlantis was alive now, Act 1, this is how I would think it would look.
Holiday on Ice has chalked up a number of records. It's the most visited ice show in the world with over 329 million audience members. It's also appeared in the Guinness Book of World Records 5 times. Skaters who want to participate must have experience, like Julia Ischeri from Switzerland, another principal skater in the show. Up till 2 years ago, she was competing on an international level.
At the competitions, you feel more under pressure, and the atmosphere is tense. Now I notice at the shows how we can all enjoy it because we have put a show together. It's socially orientated. We're a family, and we show that to the outside world.
Aside from the skating, acrobatics, and theatrical performances, the costumes also play a central role. Created by international designer Michael Sharp, they were a major endeavor with many logistics.
At the moment, the different worlds are we've got above land, so how Atlantis was, which was bright and opulent, and then when you have the place sinking and they go below the water, it's a lot more surreal and alien-inspired. Because it's essentially a sport, everything has to be super flexible and really durable.
Durable enough to last at least 6 months. Many of the skaters have no less than 7 costume changes per show. And as the show progresses, so does the opulence of each outfit.
Great costumes, very impressive and lovingly designed. Great music. Yeah, it's great.
It's fantastic. I'm absolutely thrilled.
It was beautiful.
I liked it when the fire came spouting out.
Holiday on Ice, with 75 years of history behind it, the extravaganza is still as popular as ever.
That's all we have time for, but you can find much more Euromaxx content on our Facebook page. Give us a like and be sure to join us again next time. See you soon.